Hey, how you doing? This is my new shop, and I'm about to install a multi-camera studio in here. And I decided I'd just document it for anyone who's interested. The core setup revolves around 7 cameras and external audio. Everything is linked with Timecode, and the 5 fixed-mounted cameras are locked with gen lock and computer controlled. I'll walk you through everything as I put it together, and I'll try to explain as much as I can along the way. Now, an example of why I decided to go with fixed-mounted cameras can be seen in this shot. This space was extremely tight, and I spent too much time putting tripods right in my way. I wanted unobstructed shots and multiple angles. So fixed-mounted cameras for me was the only way to go. Now, I put this system together over the course of about a year, making every mistake along the way, of course, but when everything was said and done, I ended up with something that's pretty rock solid. I can run 7 cameras all day long and not lose one frame of sync. Then, at the end of the day, I just grab a single hard drive and walk away. So, I just moved into this building. This is the perfect opportunity to make a video like this. We'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. There are definitely a lot of cameras out there, and I'm not here to tell you that one camera is better than the next. I chose the Panasonic BS1H because it was the best bang for the buck for me. Are there better cameras out there? Maybe. But until somebody comes out with a better full-frame camera that I can hang off my wall and run from my computer, these are the ones for me. Every camera channel on YouTube has done a review about this camera, so I'm not going to waste your time doing that here. Does it have some quirks? Absolutely. Is any camera perfect? I don't think so. So if you can find your way around some of the shortcomings of this camera, the picture quality more than makes up for it. So there you go. That's my lineup. That's 4 BS1Hs, and the little guy in the middle is the BGH1. The BGH1 has all the same features as the full-frame camera, but with a micro four thirds sensor. Let's go get them installed. Just for the sake of transparency, quite a few of these shots will be made from a camera on a stick. The quick and simple camera for the man on the go. Now, back to you, Bob. I'm a really big fan of this black threaded pipe. It's not the most practical thing to use inside a home studio, but in an old building like this, this is a really economical way to throw up some hangers. Just riddle it with screws and watch the power. Oh yeah, strong like Russian woman. Can I go around one more time? Yes, I can. I do put up quite a bit of pipe in this shop, but it's all for lighting. This is the only piece of pipe that holds a camera. And there we go. So the next thing is a camera right behind you, and that camera will have a teleprompter. All right, so what I've done here is I bolted the bottom plate of this teleprompter down to the plywood, but just at the back. Because I was thinking, if I needed to catch a shot over there in that direction on that bench, this would save me from setting up another camera. Just adds a little bit of flexibility. Same thing with the other way. Also, I've added one of these Z mounts. This just happens to be an Edelkron flex tilt, but the no-name ones work just as good as long as they're tight. Yeah, this saved my butt at the last place. So we'll see how he does here, but yeah, that is a handy thing to have on the back. All right, so this camera's done for now. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, speaking of this bench, I'll be doing a lot of work on this bench. I have a lathe going here. I pretty much need a top-down shot for the whole length of the bench. So what I've come up with is Unistrut, and I just made my own roller. You can get the rollers at Home Depot and Amazon too, but they're stupid expensive. Quite literally $20 worth of skateboard bearings and some roll pins, and I made my own, and I probably still have enough for at least 8 more rollers. So don't buy them, just make your own. It's super easy. Yeah, so now I can just roll it the whole length of the bench. Super quick, a lot faster than the bar. And the stand here is a they call it a wall-mounted light stand. Comes in a pair. And yeah, Quicko Changeo. and I'm shooting down the shop. So super versatile, not that expensive. Speaking of Unistrut, I installed 4 more pieces, 2 on each side to run the whole length of the shop. The original plan was to put 2 more pieces here, so I had this big trolley that ran the whole length of the shop. But I bought all the pieces of Unistrut from my local Home Depot, and they're saying they can't get any more, so I'm kind of at their mercy. Okay, I just got finished installing the BGH1. I just screwed it into the ceiling joist. That's what I love about having open joists like this. You can just screw anything to it. So I just screwed it to it using one of my favorite little friction arms. And it will be top down for this table here. Now this is kind of my set where I'll do unboxings and reviews and other talking head YouTuber type things. It's just a tabletop I picked up from Home Depot, and I just attached it to these 2 little rolling tables. I just installed this curtain, and this curtain comes all the way around to here, and if I need a backdrop, black is what I get. If you're wondering about the floating head, that's Lucy. She's my focus assistant because I run these Panasonics in manual focus because, you know, top of the line for 99 contrast detect autofocus. This is a permanent installation for this camera. It'll just live right here because when I turn it this way, you can get a side shot down the table there. And if I turn it this way, it'll be a side shot for this bench. All right, last but not least, I'm just in the process of installing the second teleprompter on this mobile TV stand. Now, I can't really take the credit for this. I think a lot of guys have done this. I believe Gerald Undone did something like this. I think Josh Yo did something like this. I'm pretty sure Caleb Pike did something like this as well. But I mean, you know, take the ideas and make them your own, right? This big TV is a program monitor, so I can monitor all the other cameras if I need to. I can monitor my audio, or I can just look at myself in 32-inch glory. The other idea that I did get from Caleb Pike was to run my teleprompter as a monitor. So I will cover all this wiring in the next segment, but just briefly what I do is I take the SDI feed out of the camera, I run it into this converter, and then I have this switch that's plugged into this monitor, and I can just switch between the camera feed or the teleprompter feed from the computer once it gets all installed. Yeah, and there we go. So that was the last camera to get installed. I just want to show you one more thing before we move on. When the cameras are hanging off the Unistrut, that's what this rig will look like. Now everything here is being run off batteries, but eventually there will be a snake coming off this camera, which will be its lifeline. Which brings me to my next segment. Let's get everything wired up. Alrighty. So one of the very first things I learned when I started using these cameras was that if I wanted to use them and keep my sanity, I would build these snakes. Now each snake is a little different depending on the camera configuration, but in its most basic form, there's 4 cables. There's an HDMI cable, and I only use these 8K cables because that was another thing I learned quickly, was for some reason the 4K cables would drop out on runs any longer than about 8 or 10 feet. As soon as I went to the 8K cables, that silliness stopped, and I have runs 25 feet long and I have yet to have a problem with the video feed. So just a heads up on that. Each snake gets 2 BNC cables, one's for timecode, one's for Genlock. And each snake gets a Cat6 Ethernet cable, and that is for computer control and power to the camera. So, I won't make you sit through this. I have a ton of these to make. I'll see you when I'm done. All right, I'm finally ready to go here. So I have 6 of them made, and I've waited long enough. Let's just start hooking them up. Okay, since this was the last camera to get set up, we might as well plug it in first here, since it's the closest one to the control cabinet. first thing I'm going to do is plug in the SDI. This will give us monitor. And what do we got here? Red is timecode. Black is, here, let's go this way. Here, do this one first. Here's the Ethernet, and that's for power and computer control. HDMI. Tighten the lock, very important. And black is Genlock. All right. Now, if I've done everything right, this thing should be, oh, it already turned itself on. And look at that, I have a picture. Oh, let's see what that shot looks like. Alrighty, how are we looking here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, this looks good. Oh, you probably want to see this. Here, where's my phone? Clearly, I did not think this through. And there we go. Anybody familiar with the Atem system will recognize that layout there. And the teleprompter is doing its monitor thing. I'll push that button. And it's a teleprompter. Push it again. And back to monitor. All right, that's one down. 4 more to go. All right, everything's hooked up. And if the math wasn't quite working for you, that's because I forgot to mention that I picked up another BS1H. So that's 5 full frame cameras and the little BGH1. Now I know it seems like overkill, but I'm trying to reduce the amount of time I spend moving cameras around. Anyone who makes content like mine knows that the video work takes up a lot of the time that you spend on a project. For me, the video work more than doubles the time I spend on any project. So this system allows me to just set the shots up in the morning and hit record, and I can just concentrate on doing my project and be confident that I'm being covered by all angles without touching a thing. But if I do happen to need a handheld shot, there's always my phone or this little FX30. You know, there's ways. So before I move on, I'll answer the question you're probably all wondering, what lenses am I using? The lenses I'm using in here are these Lumix 20-60 kit lenses. Say what you want about them. I have 5 of them and I love them. Here's the thing, they're dirt cheap. You can pick these up for under $300 all day long. I'm constantly welding, painting, grinding. I do powder coating in here, so I'm generally creating an environment that's not healthy for camera lenses. If something happens to one of these little lenses, I'm not going to get too upset about it. Secondly, the picture coming out of these things is totally fine for this environment. I'm not trying to make cinematic history here. These aren't just good lenses, they're good enough. So come on, I'll give you the grand tour. This has been teleprompter 2. This is the main bench camera. Here's bench 1. At this end I have a PTZ camera that I haven't really included in the count because I'm just trying it out. I don't know how permanent it's going to be. But you'll notice on this side of the shop that I've cleaned up and I got some insulation in the walls, some plywood up, and pretty much ready for paint. Now this is the camera that I mounted to the wall, and it's turning out to be the rock star of the show because it's right in the middle of the room and it catches everything. Really happy with that one. Then there's teleprompter 1, which is on that rolling stand. Then there's the top down. Now I was able to get unistrut, and the very first piece went up above this table because I got to thinking I may want to move the table. Or let's say I want to bring my tractor in and do some work on the tractor, or I have a little mini excavator. I could bring that in, do some work on it, and having a top-down shot would be pretty handy. So I spent a day, I built this contraption here, and it holds the monitor, the camera, all the power, everything it needs. It's a self-contained unit, and it just slides back and forth. Real happy with that. So that's it for cameras. The next thing I want to show you is this box over here. This box I call Mission Control, and it holds all the gear that runs this whole monkey show. And that's next. I hope you stick around.
Mission sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Command Mission Control. Apparently I've forgotten the keys and I'm currently locked out. Over. Mission Control. Come in. So I keep everything in this cabinet here, just so I can close the doors and not have to worry about welding splatter or grinding chips or anything else getting on this gear in here. So let's go inside and we'll start with the recorder. All the cameras and the audio go into this Atem Mini Extreme ISO G2. Now I'm not doing a review about it. That's for another video. That's just what I use. It's okay. I have some issues with it, but it's doing its job right now. The timecode that you see here and there is coming out of this old Mac Mini. This is a 2012 Mac Mini, and it's running a program called Timecode Generator. And it just sits there and pumps out timecode all day long. It's a really cheap way of getting timecode. You can pick these computers up for like $100, and I think the program itself was like $20 or something. So it works great. It's been rock solid. I've never had a problem. So the timecode, it comes out of the headphone jack of the computer. It goes up this cable here, and it goes into this pink thing here, which is an Alice DATC timecode distribution amplifier. And this thing is slicker than all shit. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can check it out. They're out of the UK. This is an amazing piece of equipment. I cannot recommend this thing enough for fixed installations. So from here, I send a feed to all the cameras. And then I also send a feed to this Mix Pre 10. And I also send a feed to the dummy clock here. The reason for the dummy clock is so that I can walk around to all the monitors before I start rolling and double check that the time code on the cameras is what that says. While I'm there, I can also double check that the gen lock is locked. And for gen lock, I'm using the Blackmagic Sync generator. It's been pretty good too. I don't think I've ever had a problem with it. It just does its job. This computer also does the teleprompter software. I'll show you that real quick here. Where am I here? The program I'm using for teleprompter is called Power Prompter. It's been rock solid as well. I've never had a problem with it. I'll show you real quick what I do here. I take the HDMI feed out of the computer and it goes into this splitter here. One feed goes to this computer monitor, and then two more feeds go to the AB switches on each of the teleprompters. Those are the ones that I showed you earlier. That system is working amazing. I am so impressed with how that all works. The computer on the wall here, this is the M4 Mac Mini, and it is, here, I'll turn the light off so you can see it. It's running the Lumix Tether app. Now, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this software. When it works amazing, but it is buggy. It has crashed, I'm good for at least once a day. So generally what I'll do is I'll dial the cameras in, and then I'll just shut it off. And you don't need it running you're just there to set the settings, and then you can shut it off, and the settings are retained in the cameras. The way they get to the camera, or that information gets to the camera, is via Ethernet. So the Ethernet goes from the computer into a switcher in the back, and then it gets distributed to the cameras, and it also powers the cameras. It's quite a neat system. I like it. If that software, the software is the weak link, really. This computer also does the Atem control software, and I don't do broadcasting or streaming, so my use of this is pretty limited. I'm usually just checking out the audio, and that's about it. I do want to point out, though, see all these strips here? They're not getting used. Every one of those gets recorded as a blank audio file in your audio folder when you're done. Like, every time you hit record, you get 24 blank audio files in your audio folder. Well, over the course of a 10 or 12 hour day for me, I might hit start and stop a dozen times or more, like sometimes more. At the end of the day, I literally end up with hundreds of blank audio files that I have to try to get rid of before I can send this stuff to my NLE. It's, I'm not digging that at all. That's something that they've got to get figured out. But, I mean, for now, I'm glad to have the 8 recording channels, so it's one of these, So what else? I think that's it. I didn't mention this audio thing up here. This is just my audio checker. It comes out of the MixPre 10, and it just makes just so that anywhere I am in the room, I can make sure that I actually have audio. Actually, earlier today, that thing saved my butt. So, I mean, you only have to screw that up a couple dozen times to realize that you might want something to make sure, a checker of some sort to make sure that you in fact have audio going to your system. So, yeah, that works good. For audio, I'm using, for the mics, I have a couple of Sennheisers. I have a MK50 and the 416. And I've come up with this boom stand contraption that rolls along on the Unistrut. For the lavs, I use a Sennheiser MKE2 going into a Rode Wireless Pro. And the last thing I want to show you is this PTZ camera. This is an Osbot Tail 2. I thought it'd be fun to have something like this follow me around, so I built this crazy camera rig contraption. I put it on Unistrut, and now I can just roll it wherever I want it in the shop and let it do its thing. It has a snake, just like the other cameras, but it doesn't have timecode. But the new Atem Mini Extreme ISO G2 has time of day timecode, so my whole timecode system may become irrelevant. Time will tell. So everything is up and running now, and I look forward to making videos with it. I want to thank you for sticking it out till the end, and come on back and check on my progress. Bye now.